Chapter 17. Ray. "I want you to be my first," Josiah said, and Ray repeated the words over and over again in his brain. He'd never imagined Josiah would make such a declaration, but he was the sexiest thing alive, standing in front of Ray with a defiant but nervous expression on his smooth face. "Okay," Ray replied. It was the best response he could come up with on such short notice, with absolutely no warning at all, and now with a raging hard-on in his pants. He jerked off almost constantly. It had become a daily practice right before his shower and right after he finished clearing his email inbox. It was a standing engagement. His favorite porn clip, his hand and his dick. Finding a video featuring a black man and an Asian man had been hard enough, but one where the black man was on the bottom had been his highest accomplishment and most intense project for the last month. "Do you want to be mine?" "Yeah," Ray croaked. "Now? Do you want?" He knew sex. Having good sex, was an art form, and Ray had painted beautiful pictures with people whose names he couldn't remember. He'd made strangers scream his name, fist his dark hair, and beg over and over again for more. And yet, he found himself speechless at Josiah's request. Speechless and giddy like a schoolboy seeing his first pair of breasts. Josiah considered his question, rolling his gaze around the room as Ray's eyes traveled down to the erection tenting Josiah's pants. Now was a good time. Ray's mouth watered. He wasn't one of those guys who craved and preferred inexperience, but knowing Josiah wanted him as his first was both an honor and a turn-on. "I think yeah. Should I get naked?" "Whatever you want to do." Ray's eyes grew wide as Josiah slipped his blazer off his shoulders, draping it on the back of the couch, and peeled his shirt over his head too. His dark umber nipples stood out against his smooth chest, and a diamond of tight curls sat in the center of his body. Ray had seen Josiah in various states of undress, but he hadn't been afforded a good, uninterrupted look. He hadn't been allowed to drink in every part of the other man's body, but now he had his chance, and he stared wide-eyed as Josiah draped his shirt over his blazer. Ray's lips parted, and a little groan slipped past them. His balls ached and his cock throbbed in the trap of his pants. "I like how you look at me," Josiah confessed. His jeans sat low on his hips, showing off sharp cut lines and a trail of dark hair disappearing behind the waistband. Ray swallowed. "How do I look at you?" "Like I'm the only person you've ever seen in your life. Like you can't wait to take me. You look at me hungrily. The way I always wanted Quentin to look at me, but he never did." "Don't say his name," Ray grunted. "Sorry." Josiah sucked his bottom lip into his mouth. "Don't be. Tell me what you want. What have you thought about?" "I want you to fuck me like you fuck everyone else. I want to know what it's like to be with you." "I can't." "Why not?" Josiah frowned, disappointment marring his features. "Because you're not everyone else." Ray reached for him, placing a hand on his waist and drawing him closer. He swept his lips over Josiah's body, taking in his clean, soapy scent and nuzzling the few extra pounds he'd gained since the lockdown. He was softer but no less beautiful than the first day Ray had ever seen him, and Ray's grip tightened at his side. "Oh. Okay." Josiah exhaled in a light trill. Goosebumps rose on his skin following Ray's lips, and a little shiver worked through him. "I like how your mouth feels against me." "Good." Ray used his tongue next, sliding over the hint of his cut lines, wringing a shocked moan from him, and traveling around until he trapped the top part of Josiah's ass in his teeth. "A little bite." Josiah moaned again, this time with a giggle at the end. "You're so beautiful," Ray whispered against Josiah's skin, trailing up to his nipples and then brushing his face over his curled chest hair as he browsed his way to Josiah's neck. "Thank you." Josiah rested a hand on Ray's shoulder as he tilted his head to the side, surrendering to him, submitting to him. Ray groaned again, nibbling his neck and running his lips over the shell of Josiah's ear. "Finish undressing for me. I want to see all of you." "Oh, okay." His words were nothing more than puffed sighs, and his skin was blazing to the touch. Josiah's hands slipped between their bodies, and he fumbled with the button and the zipper of his jeans, until he pushed them off his hips, letting gravity do the rest of the work. He pushed his underwear down too, and his cock sprang free, slapping against his belly and smearing pre-cum across his mahogany skin. When he pulled his briefs off, his heady scent filled the room, and Ray's excitement grew even more. "Fuck," he rumbled. "Damn." Josiah trembled against him. "I'm so turned on right now." Ray chuckled gently. His hands snaked around Josiah's body, and he grabbed 2 fists full of the other man's tight ass, drawing him closer, meshing their bodies together. "I'm going to help you out with that," Ray promised. With a grunt, he lifted Josiah up and sat him on the table. "Please." Josiah's hands trailed down Ray's biceps, squeezing him at the elbows, before Ray sank to his knees and kissed the inside of his thigh, brushing pillowy lips across unexplored skin. "Can I suck you off?" "Please," Josiah said again. "Fuck yeah." Ray planted kisses along the inside of Josiah's thigh until he reached the center of his body and took in a deep breath of his natural smell, drowning in it. Josiah's cock throbbed and his belly hollowed. His breath stuttered. Ray kissed him, puckering his lips and pressing them into the veiny shaft of his cock. Josiah wasn't a virgin anymore. Ray had something no other man could ever take from him, and he was honored to have it. His lips browsed vestal skin until he reached the head, and he kissed it, tonguing over his slit. Josiah rewarded him with a little bead of pearly white pre-cum. It contrasted with his dark skin, and Ray swiped it away. He took his time exploring Josiah's skin, leaving the other man a trembling mess by the time his lips and tongue had touched every inch of him. Josiah dropped his head back on his shoulders, curving them forward and pushing his hips towards Ray. He gripped the edge of the table, rolling his hips as Ray's mouth traveled from the base of his cock back up to the head. Ray swirled his tongue around the head of Josiah's cock and then swallowed him into his mouth. He retreated, and his tongue laved the underside of Josiah's cock, cheeks hollowing. His hands moved to Josiah's hips, holding him in place as he took more of him past his lips, blocking his airway for a second before retreating and doing it again, taking him even deeper, feeling his curly pubic hairs tickle his nose. Josiah inhaled deep breaths and exhaled guttural moans as his orgasm built, as his cock throbbed with it, as more of his pre-cum wet Ray's tongue. The head of his cock swelled in Ray's mouth, pulsing with his pounding heartbeat. He was close. Ray knew it. Ray felt it. "Ah. Stop," Josiah gasped. "Stop. Please." Ray obliged, and he flicked his gaze up to Josiah. "You okay?" Josiah sucked in a ragged breath, wiggling away from Ray. His cock still bubbled with pre-cum, taut skin throbbing. Ray clenched and released his fist, sliding his hands down his thighs. He had to calm down too, but watching Josiah squirm in front of him was making it difficult. "No. I'm not sure I'm ready." Ray wet his lips, nodding. "Okay." He eased himself off the floor, stretched, and kissed the corner of Josiah's lips. "I think there's some ice cream in the freezer. I snuck some in with the last grocery order." Josiah's eyes grew wide as Ray pulled away. What? "I was going to get some ice cream." Ray shrugged. "You're not upset?" "There's nothing to be upset about." Ray stroked the outside of Josiah's thigh. "If you're not ready, you're not ready. It's your body." Josiah's eyes lidded, and he crossed his arms over his chest. "Yeah. Can I have my clothes?" "Sure." Ray grabbed Josiah's discarded shirt and briefs, resting them on the table beside his hand. "So how about the ice cream? And we can crawl in bed and relax for a bit." Josiah tugged his clothes on and recoiled into himself, wrapping his arms around his legs and resting his chin on his knees. "You're really not upset?" "I'm really not upset. Not one single bit, Josiah." Ray moved to the refrigerator, opening the top section and pulling out a carton of chocolate ice cream. "Besides, the truth is we've done more intimate things than sex already." "What do you mean?" "Sex isn't the mark of a good relationship. I mean, sex is great. Trust me, I want to make your toes curl and hear you scream my name, but we sleep together every night. I wake up to your face every morning. We share our meals. We talk. Sex isn't everything. Ray spooned the ice cream into 2 separate bowls. I guess. We'll have sex when we do. I don't mind waiting a little longer. Now come on. I know exactly what you like. He walked backwards towards the entrance of the kitchen, cradling both bowls of ice cream. Josiah didn't move, but he hugged his body with his arms. What do I like? You like being the big spoon, watching nature documentaries, and rubbing against me when you think I'm asleep. Josiah smiled at first, but then his eyes bugged. Hey. I don't rub against you. Ray lifted his eyebrows. You absolutely do. I'm not complaining, but don't act like you're some innocent thing. I know how you nestle that thick cock of yours between my ass cheeks. Ray. You're not funny. Ray laughed. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being honest. Now come on before your ice cream melts. He shook Josiah's bowl before strolling backwards out of the kitchen. Frowning, Josiah slithered from the counter and followed Ray's lure to the bedroom.